Good morning, and thank you for joining Resilient You with Alicia Pozsony. We have guests on our shows that are professionals and many different walks of life. Today, we have a special guest, Mary Domingo-Akeju. Mary is a licensed professional counselor with clinical experience. She works with youths, couples, and families in residential and outpatient settings. She also has expertise with families, children, and adolescents with anxiety, ADHD, oppositional disorders, chemical dependency, mood disorders, depression, trauma, PTSD, anger, autism. The list goes on and on. Mary, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Alicia. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Now, Mary, one of the things that we need to talk about is the brand new book, the book that is going to be a tool that's going to help a lot of children and caregivers and parents. The book is called FUNBOOK, and it's like a diary, but more fun. The book is a tool, I know, that it has playful, inspirational, motivational activities that are going to encourage kindness, self-confidence, self-regulation, and positive change in kids ages 5 to 7, I think even preschool. So Mary, why don't you tell us a little bit about your wanting to join in with me and my daughter on this book?
I mean, why not? I at a point in time worked with your daughter. My God, she's such a brilliant, you know, young lady. I always say, like, for someone that age, she talks like she's really very insightful, matured. And of course, then there's that other little girl side of her. And when we started to talk about, we can make a book, Emily. Why don't we? You're already an author. Join with your mom, so maybe you can help us. That's what you said, and she jumped right into it. But I have to tell you that the skills, the tools, everything she offered, some of them were not things we directly talked about. It was amazing to see that when all the time I was talking to her, she was listening. And she brought all of those, sometimes, she was flowing with ideas. And then we said, well, you need to write this down. You need to write that down. I feel like because she's come a long way, she can help other young people to not only find ways to deal with whatever they're dealing with, but to give them something that they can have. Like, once this is a book that you can use as a diary, and once you put stuff in it, you can always go back and refer to them. I like how we had in the book said that kids can talk to the adults in their lives. They can talk to their teachers and parents. And I know that's very, it's a daunting task too for kids, to be vulnerable and talk about what they're going through with parents. And this is going to make it easy. That's what that it's an outlet.
Yeah, and I know my original book, Emotional Strength Explained, it's a guided journal for people who want to become stronger and understand really what's going on with them. So, Mary, when you were working with my daughter who had ADHD or ADD, something, she has oppositional traits, and at the age of 8, she was having tantrums that some kids were supposed to stop having at 3. She didn't have the ability to control herself. And so, Mary, you worked with her in a short while, and it was just amazing to see that she really started forming a desire to want to change. So I just want to thank you for that. You are amazing in terms of
Well,
counseling and working with the kids and the family. Like the words that you said to me as a parent were so instrumental in creating the structure that we needed in our house. A lot of times problems might exist and the caregivers or the parents may not be aware of the role they play
mm,
in it and how it affects the child. So we often, and even me, like Emily was very smart, and she wanted to be independent.
mm,
Like she always wanted to do everything on her own. So at the age of 5, she was buttoning her own shirts and she was packing her
mm,
own lunch bag. She wanted to do everything, right? So when she started working with you, though, she became more aware of the things that are making her do what she does, her emotions, right? She started to learn. And I think that's what really made her have interest in joining a project together with you and I.
mm.
So you come into it from the clinical aspect. Emily comes in from the child's
The little
point
kid, yes.
view. Yeah. And it's amazing, this book that we've done. It's going to be a wonderful tool, Mary, for
Yeah.
parents, caregivers, and even for the people who are working with the kids. And
With
and
it, yes.
yeah,
Yes,
it's
yes. I'm already introducing it to some colleagues and asking their opinion, and people were like, yes, yes, I would use it because it matters a lot that people want to um not only and I've seen like as lots of books that kids to read and then they just leave it and probably don't remember it, but this is an interactive you know book. This book can be used by even parents, by uh, professionals to help, help them not only give the tools to the kids, but to help them find practical ways to use the tools. I think Emily is, um, I don't want to say that she's a very resourceful little girl. And it really pleased me to know she was listening all the time we were in therapy. When she was, talking about the tools, the ideas, there was a time I think she said, maybe sometimes kids go through things that they don't know how to ask for help. And we
yeah.
had said, well, that's really true. That's you know, a lot of times, in my work, kids tell me things that they haven't told their parents because I mean that's mom, that's dad, and I come in as this neutral person, so they talk to me about those things, and that's what she's helped us to see.
Mm. Yeah,
Yes,
that's true. So this book is going to be a tool that can help the kids document it, and that's an adult word, but they would use the book in play. They would color, they would draw, they would write. There's little puzzles and games. The concepts are introduced in such a way,
yeah,
and I'll just show you here the some of the pages.
yeah.
It's
Mhm.
playful, and
Yeah.
so the kids, they get motivated, they can,
Uh-huh.
learn about it. They,
Yes,
like this section here, it's
that's it.
what makes you happy. Um,
Yeah,
and again, the book is really, like you said, it's if kids don't ask for help or they don't talk about what they need, if it comes out through play with a neutral party, I
yeah,
know you do a lot of trauma focused work with
yes.
cognitive behavioral therapy,
Mhm.
and play therapy. And, you know, it's interesting to see that something like this it's not out there yet for that
It's not out there
person.
yet. It's different. Yes, and they need it because I at times, I see a lot of kids and I say, well, why hasn't they been in therapy before? Why hasn't it worked? What's the problem? And some of them tell me, well, I went to my therapist, I drew. And sometimes those things are just plain stuff for kids to draw, maybe not related to the things they're going through. So, this youth in therapy, just coloring Winnie the Pooh or
Mm.
Mickey or something, but it's really not directly related to what they want to talk about. I don't often ask a kid, why are you in therapy? That's something you ask an adult. But I
Mm.
can give them this book
Mm-hmm.
and we can play with it. We can talk
Mm.
without the child even knowing that I'm bringing out things and asking those questions. We can just use the book to answer those questions.
Yeah, so this book has a lot of, interaction where the child is asked to think about things and put them down. And so, there's one section where it says draw your parents or caregivers, and there's a section where they can draw that. And that's something like if the child doesn't draw a smile on the face, or they make the body tiny, maybe they themselves are tiny, different things like that. It can give you insight into how they feel about who's caring
With
for
that
them.
person, yeah,
And
yeah,
a caregiver can look at that and say, why aren't you as big as me? And then they can understand and say, I love you. How can you feel better? I don't know. In a perfect world, right? We would
in a perfect
have
world, yeah.
we
But
would have
yes, but it's the world's not perfect, and kids are not perfect, and kids will do draw things out and say things out. Sometimes it's not even for us to interpret. In that process, they taking care of stuff and resolving um conflicts within them that they haven't even found words to express.
mm,
Kids play, adults work.
mm.
So when kids are doing those things and they're in that process, they're doing work that an adult will do in a session.
Yeah, that's true. And this book is an activity book, right? So it helps them to use things and be able to apply them, right? So there's one section in the book which really it tells them that their body is like a car. And how
Yes.
do they feel? Do they feel like they're going slow or fast? What about when a teacher tells them to do something, or if they have the friend says they want to do something that they don't want to do? How do they
Mhm.
feel then? Is your car fast or slow? There's different
Mhm.
techniques in here that
Yeah.
apply. And it's for boys or girls. It's for, any gender.
Mhm.
Um, it's it's also very good because it has sections in there like I can be safe. And it talks
Yeah.
about safety, and it tells them leave situations that make you want to run and hide. Um, there's a lot of kids who were traumatized.
Mhm.
I was one of them. I was in a foster home.
Mhm.
I was not safe because my mother was mentally ill. My father had left our home, and we lived in neighborhoods that weren't safe as well. It just my mother had enrolled me in a school that wasn't the right school, and I had to walk many blocks through neighborhoods, and people
Mhm.
would approach me, hey, you want to smoke this? I was 6 years old, and imagine a 6 year old going through like a bad neighborhood in a city, being approached. Luckily I had the strength to keep going, and I
Say
had to
no.
walk day by day. I had to walk by that same guy out on the porch. Luckily nothing happened. That's just
Yeah.
one example, Mary. That's one example. But
Mhm.
this book, for me, if I had it where it's like, leave the situation, that would reinforce what I needed to do to help myself, or to tell the truth, or talk to a trusted adult.
Adult.
That's
Yeah.
something, that this book is really going to be key in helping those who have trauma, or who are in situations maybe that um, we don't like to think about, but it happens.
Mhm.
There's many kids out there that will need this.
Mhm.
Either they've been
Some kids
abused.
are. Uh-huh. No, you were going.
Yeah, either they were abused or they are being abused, or they have a potential that there's someone who is a predator and who may be
Mhm.
wanting to hurt them if they had a chance to get them alone. There's a lot of situations out there. So this book is really good for, I think, any kid or caregiver, even a parent who wants to, make help to keep that child safe and
Mhm.
resilient and to make good decisions.
I agree. I will have this in my office for parents to who want to make use of it. Um, I was, it just made me think about youth here, that I was working with this week. Who said to me, I said, well, look, our school so far, kids just resumed school, and he said, well, nothing much has happened except for some kids asked me to help them get a vape. Uh,
Mm.
and I said, well, I mean, like you don't vape, and it's well, they know my mom and dad vape, so they kind of approached him and said, well, since your parents vape, and he had been caught bringing his parents vaping thing to school before. And so they know that they approached him. And it was a good thing that he talked to me about it. He said, well, I said, what did you say? Well, you and I already talked about it. So I told them, no, it's not right. They should wait until I'm 18, which is what I told them.
Oh.
Tell them to wait till you're 18. So I think that this would be a good book for a kid or a child like him to be able to interact and play. Some kids are hands-on. They want to see things written like this and things that they can draw. And it's not all, I mean, for example, this user I'm talking about will be, yeah, that'll be useful for him.
Wonderful. So yeah, so it helps with kids and their interactions at school with their
Yes.
peers, with I was just looking for the table of contents, Mary, because I know you have direct input here. There are tips from
Yes.
Mary, and
Yes.
so like there's 4 or 5 sections in the book where you have
Uh-huh.
your input. Um, yes, so tip from Miss Mary, building emotional
Mhm.
strength. Tip from Mary, calming down, and then pressing your pause button, right? So you
Yeah.
introduce the topic for kids to think about pressing their pause button to calm down.
Yes. I mean, there are lots of ways a lot of, again, why I like that this book is interactive. You'll be surprised at how many young people actually know about these tools. I'll ask them, well, what happened in school? And then what did you do? Well, I didn't use my breathing skills. I didn't, because, it takes a while for a habit to form. And I think if it's, I mean, they forget from once something happens, from A to B to C, in between, kids often, I don't even know that that's what kids often lose control and they're not able to implement their tools immediately. And then afterwards they come, after things have escalated, they can look back and say, well, I should have used. I feel like if it's in, if they can see it, visual, um, I've always said that one things that you can see make more impact. And not that, but this is can be audio visual. You can read it to
Hmm.
them, you can play with it with them, and they can see it. Maybe it'll be more ingrained in their memory and they can get to use it, you
Hmm.
know. Yes.
Yeah, true. In the book, they have chances to try something new, like the new
Yes.
activity, doing breathing exercises or calming themselves down by pressing their pause button. They're asked to practice, and so they might pick up the book the next day because they're told to put the book down and go now, go play
Yeah.
and try it. And then when they come back the next day or on the weekend or something, they'll pick it up where they left off and they'll remember and
Yeah.
they can check it off and feel good about, yes, I did it with my friend or with my, in that situation. So it's really something that, is going to be good for them.
Yes. Yes. This
So
isn't just another book. It's I like that interactive aspect of it. It's a book that kids can, they get to be writers too in this book. They get to participate. It's a book for kids, and it's not just someone reading it to you. You're also a part of it. This is your book. You personalize it, and you write the things that you feel that you're going through, what can help you. Yes.
yeah, so listeners out there, if you are a parent, a caregiver, if you are a clinician or a mentor, if you have kids, preschool ages up to age 7, or others on the autism spectrum, perhaps, depending on their levels,
Mm.
you might benefit from this book. Now, Mary, I know that we've talked about doing series of these books
Yes.
for different age groups as of kids, up to adolescents and then
That's
teenagers.
exciting. Yes.
And that's exciting. And then also for the other issues that people go through, such as relationships or addiction.
Mhm.
Um, what do you think about our next phase, Mary? What do you think is the next path for us?
I mean, I'm excited. It's exciting to be able to help other people to find ways, because like I always say, there's a lot of books out there. There are lots of books out there, but not many are addressing specifically. Well, sometimes I read books and they look generic to me, like, okay, you've read one, you read it all. And I think that's what I'm excited about. That what we're trying to do is to do something that's um, not just like a one size fit all, but that can go into like specific situations and give people tools and ideas of what to do, how to help themselves um, in different situations.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Now that reminds me, you shared something with me, Mary, that you had a dream that you turned into a reality. Um,
Ah,
that you wanted to always be a psychotherapist or psychiatrist. Um,
yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
I didn't really, it wasn't like I had a dream and then I'm following that dream. Like, maybe somebody wants to be a singer and they just singing all the time. It wasn't even anything like that. I remember wanting to be a psychiatrist. And I was only 12. I was standing in front of my classroom and thinking, what am I gonna be? And that's what I wanted to be, because I'm interested in people. I've always been empathetic. I've to a fault. Sometimes I have a tendency to, understand what people are going through. And so I'm interested in knowing what makes people think and behave the way that they do right from that age. And then there's the issue of you know, I didn't like all those molecular things in biology, all the science, I just, it was just a lot, computing 1 plus 2 and all those circle. And so I knew that was a problem right from them. Like, well, since I don't like that stuff, then I don't think I can be a doctor, and then I can't be a psychiatrist. And I just said, look, I just be a psychologist. It'll be the same thing. I'll still get to help people without having to do those
Mm.
things. Right. And then I forgot about it. I had gone on to be a journalist, because I, read into writing and became the editor in chief of my school press club and high school, and then went to school of journalism. So that was it. I forgot all about that. But then, even in that, there's always human interest stories. And I was very towards that. And then I relocated to the United States, and I knew, okay, so what's now? What now? I was a best social science student in high school. So I
Mm.
said, okay, maybe social work. And it just, of course, and then came computer, and I dabbled into computer a little bit, but did graduate with organizational psychology. with a
Oh,
major in that.
amazing. So you
Yeah,
started out on one path, journalism, and now here you are back again in
back
journalism,
again.
publishing and books.
Yes.
And but it's wonderful to hear that story. That's so amazing. I know myself when I was like, I don't know, probably 7, 8 years old, I was walking past a house that had been converted into an office, and it was calming. The woman came out, greeted her client, they went inside, and I remember thinking, I want to be like that woman. I want to be like that
Oh,
psychiatrist and help people when I was that young.
wow.
And
Yeah.
and then after having trauma and dealing with things with my own situation in my life, I said, "Oh no, that's too much trouble for
Too
my head."
much.
So I didn't go that route. I went technology. But I've always, had an interest, and again, I know that, now being able to help others, it's so rewarding. Because again, being a human being is a journey, and no one is perfect despite what we see online, the things people post. Everyone, I think, needs spirituality, right? We need that higher power in our life. We need that guiding force of supportive people like you, and all the professionals that work at your choice counseling.
Yeah.
And it's so rewarding, and I know, Mary, that's just wonderful. I'm so looking forward to working on these subtopics of these
Yeah.
diagnoses that people have, to help them, because you can hear a million things online, but when you get a useful tool like this that can really help them stay grounded through it all, it's really going to matter that much more.
Yeah. There's a word, grounded. Grounded. That's the most important thing, because there's a lot going on in the world and people can get like overwhelmed. And if you can find a way to be grounded, there'll be people that, because different things, resonate for different people. There'll be a lot of people that are going to take this book and use it in ways that's going to be life changing for them. Now, I've read a lot of good books myself. I mean, I know there are good books out there. And this is our books, our series are going to be just impactful. Going to be an addition to all those wonderful books out there. I want it to be um, that once people pick it up, by the time they put it down, they know that they've experienced a life changing uh, um, thing.
Wonderful. Well, Mary, our time is ending, unfortunately, but FUNBOOK is the newest book
Yeah,
out, and we are going to unveil this on Sunday.
yeah.
Did you want to?
Yeah.